Dear friends, the mission of the Center for Christian Studies is to educate women and men for ministry that will transform the church and the world toward wholeness, justice, and compassion. In living out this mission, the Center for Christian Studies needs to be both an institution committed to learning and a movement led by gospel vision. The entire CCS community shares a responsibility for supporting and embodying this vision and offering their gifts, skills, and relationships to shape it. Therefore, I invite you, students, staff, graduates, and friends of the Center for Christian Studies, to join with us in celebrating the ministry of this community of learning and preparation of women and men for leadership in the church.
I invite other members of the Central Council to stand in your place where you are and join with me in presenting Naylor. We affirm that Maylan Mabey has been duly selected and appointed to the position of principal of the Center for Christian Studies, and ask that you give your blessing to this appointment on behalf of the Anglican Church of Canada and the United Church of Canada.
As representatives of the Anglican and United Churches, Archbishop Fred Hiltz and I acknowledge and give our blessing to Maylan's appointment as principal of the Center for Christian Studies. Will you, Maylan, commit your gifts and energy to this community? Will you learn and lead, sharing in both the joy and responsibility of your work? Will you be accountable for the privilege with which this community entrusts you?
With the guidance and support of the Holy Spirit, I will.
I invite members of staff who are present to come forward. Anne, Mark, Scott, and Ted, will you commit yourself to offering welcome, support, and encouragement to Maylan in her new role as principal? Will you offer your gifts and energy to this community? And will you learn and lead, sharing in both the joy and responsibility of your work?
The guidance and support of the Holy Spirit.
As a staff team, will you commit yourselves to mutual accountability, working in a spirit of trust and respect? Will you be a compassionate presence for the students and wider CCS community, encouraging them as they grow and learn, and respecting them as individuals with needs, gifts, and dreams?
With the guidance and support of the Holy Spirit.
And I invite everyone else present to stand. Will you, students, graduates, and friends of the Center for Christian Studies, commit yourselves to offer your support for the staff and ongoing life of CCS, its mission and ministry?
The Greek word diakonia is often used in the New Testament for serving at table. Jesus cared about the nurturing and feeding of people in body and spirit. He understood the meaning of community gathered at table. To do diakonia is to follow the example of this table server. God calls us all into ministry. May there be welcome and hospitality.
From the 4th century, reading the Gospel was seen as a diaconal task. Sometimes the deacon also preached, and almost always the reading of the Gospel was associated with the diaconal role of teacher. Part of the diaconal task is not just to tell the Jesus stories, but to help people tell their own stories of their pain and suffering, of their joys and triumphs, of deaths and resurrections, of God at work among them. We give thanks for the personal stories lived with commitment and courage, with faith and vision, with passion and compassion, with joy and blessing.
When the early church was under persecution, the deaconesses and deacons stood at the door when the community gathered. They stood, as it were, at the boundaries between church and world. They were positioned at the edges. Some would say the cutting edge. We might call such diaconia today ministries of outreach and hospitality, and interpretation and mediation and reconciliation, bringing distant parties together, arranging welcome spaces, making the word come alive in languages that people can understand. For all those involved in teaching and learning at the Center for Christian Studies, for the students, staff, and friends of the Center for Christian Studies, for all people engaged in theological education and formation for ministry, we offer our thanks for their gifts and commitment. We offer our prayers for their openness and wisdom.
Part of the vision that we in the diaconate see is that this ministry belongs to all people of God, not just us. Sometimes we do diaconia in the name of the people of God. Sometimes we teach, equip, liberate others for this ministry in the world. Always we are a sign, a living reminder that God calls us all, the people of God, into diaconia. May all these be signs of the ministry which is upheld by the Center for Christian Studies and shared by all the people of God. Amen. May we find joy together.
We present the principal and staff, please stand, of the Center for Christian Studies, and invite your welcome.